Looks like we got started.
What's up?
Horrible person. What's up, everybody? Tuesday, August 27th, MLB Strategy Show. And look who is below me, which is a real weird thing to say. Welcome back, Laffy.
Yeah, that was odd. I'm good, man. You didn't ask, but I'm good. I'm glad to be back. And
I'm a little shook right now.
I'm glad to be doing the best weekday show in the business.
I love it, man. It's so much fun. So much fun. And the best part of it is, and I don't know how it's going to change, at least for like September through December, or I guess
I'm going to be doing basketball. I'm just going to do like basketball and football strategy shows.
Okay. I'm really excited for the basketball version of this.
Oh, cannot wait. Can't wait. It's going to be outrageous.
Because we will, like, for baseball, you and I aren't, like, we're not really arguing about anything. We're not really taking stands. It's baseball. Like, you know, we understand it as a game of probability. But when the NBA rolls around,
oh yeah, whole nother dimension.
Yeah, it's gonna get good.
Yeah,
we've got our sea legs under us now. It'll be good.
This will be what? This will be our second basketball season together coming up.
It will.
Right.
It will.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Like a fine wine.
Like Charles Shaw. Alrighty. We got the full 15 today, which I'm not mad about. Pitching is stacked at the top. There's a decent amount of quality arms at the bottom. I'm really pumped for it.
Yeah, dude, seven pitchers above 10K on DraftKings.
Yeah, and like they should be. You know, they're not. Nobody's sneaking into the 10K range undeservedly. So,
although Giolito at 11.5 against Minnesota, I may have some quarrels there, but outside of that, I
overpriced. I won't deny that, but I mean, he's a 10K guy at the very least.
Oh, no question. And after, you know, what looked like a little struggle there in July, well, now he looks like a Cy Young winner again. It's a really bizarre season from him.
Yeah, he went ahead and righted the ship. I've got lineup study pulled up for last night. I got the $8 150 max and a couple familiar names at the top. Finishing third, 1-800-EDDIE.
Nice.
What up to the man behind the scenes? I don't get to talk about Eddie nearly enough, but finished third here. Alex finished 15th. Adam finished 20th. So good showing. I saw Osmo logos everywhere. I think we have a second place and a third place in the mini max last night. You needed Oakland, and Alex told you that on the deeper dive.
He did.
He played 3 times the field of Oakland in this contest, and you know, he was profitable, and it worked. I was dubious, and I didn't have it, and it was worse. I had St. Louis, so I came in number 2, which is fitting for all sorts of reasons.
Yeah, St. Louis was solid. Oakland was just insane, though.
Yeah.
And it's funny. At one point, they had 12 runs and only like 3 extra base hits. But then it just kept coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw that they were loaded early for Semien, and I was just like, oh, get out of this. Because I was cheering pretty actively against Oakland because I had the Cardinals, and they were the clear leader in the clubhouse at that point, and I had the Yankees yet to come. And I came back upstairs. I opened the MLB.com app, and immediately I saw that it was 5-0. And I was like, great, Semien donked. And I opened it up. I was like, nope, bases clearing triple. Exactly like I would have expected.
Yeah.
And then he donged later. 34 fantasy points on DK last night.
A modest 7 RBIs but this is great though. On 2 hits.
Craziness.
Yeah. 2 hits, 7 RBIs.
Sonny Gray was awkward. I opened it up and it was 2 innings, no hits, 3 strikeouts, and 4 walks.
Amazing. Yeah,
I told Adam he should never be over 10K after that performance. He deserves to just pay that bet out now.
Yeah, and it was like he wasn't bad, but you needed. I mean, what was it? What was he owned at in the $8?
43.
Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. I kind of thought he'd be higher, honestly, with how weak the pitching was.
Yeah, he was on an island.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's It was Gray at the top in all of the nut lineups. I mean, you had to have the A's. I can't imagine how far I would have to scroll down to find a lineup that didn't have some piece of Oakland. But it was Sonny Gray, J.A. Happ, Tyler Beatty. That was basically the combo at the top. A couple of Musgroves sprinkled in, but I mean, that's what you needed yesterday. But if you didn't have Oakland, you were shit out of luck.
J.A. Happ is another one where he gave up 3 runs and only 2 hits.
Yeah. Oh, man. Winning lineup last night, 5-man A's, 2-man Yankees, J.A. Happ, Sonny Gray, Ford for the Yankees. I believe he double-donged. Am I right? Yeah, had to.
Yeah.
Brett Gardner and then Eugenio Suarez as the one-off. That's what took it down. But 150 max guy got it. Let me hop back over to the mini-max. Friend of the program, Brownie Batter finished second. Wicked Wiz.
Yeah, congrats, man. 4K.
Yeah, Wicked Wiz finished third. Both guys that are in our Slack. Oh, wow.
By friend of the program, you also mean Premium Awesemo subscriber.
Premium Awesemo subscribers, yes. Yes, I was alerted to their success this morning opening up our baseball channel.
Yep.
Tommy Nation, a.k.a. Jake, finished 6th. Not bad.
No, it was a good showing for sure.
I see a lot of names I recognize in the top half. So, look, Oakland was the number 2 stack in our top stacks tool. Alex played them 3 times the field. If anybody is getting our sort of information and trying to play, if you didn't play Oakland, it's not because we didn't tell you to. I mean, I told you not to, but all of Alex's stuff was spot on as per usual. There's a reason he's the best in the industry, folks.
Yeah, that would be it.
I told you guys on Live Before Lock, I don't like Oakland, but don't listen to me if Alex is telling you he likes Oakland. There's a level of value in his words that are higher than mine, that's for sure.
Yeah, he seemed to be spot on yesterday.
Yeah.
And
surprise, surprise.
You're not always going to get those, but really the biggest thing too was, I think for Alex, it wasn't even as much like, I think people look at it and they're like, how does Alex predict the future like that? Right? It's not what he's doing. He's looking at the probabilities, and obviously the matchup comes into play, but they had a 13% top stack probability. You can find it on the top stack tool on Awesemo, and 8% ownership. So on a 7-game slate, when you have the 6th highest ownership, but the 2nd highest top stack potential, right there, that you're getting a very good stack with a lot of upside.
Yep. His 2 most exposed stacks were the Yankees and Oakland. Yankees were the top stack in the top stack tool. Oakland was 2nd.
There it is.
It's really that simple. Every batter, he had 14 to 28%. He was 2 to 3 times the field on everybody. And that was laid out in the top stacks tool. I mean, you saw it right there, crystal clear. That you knew it was coming, and there it was. He's not looking at this stuff like it's binary, like, oh, can't play Oakland today.
Exactly.
Can't play so-and-so today. That's a cross-off. No, every single player, every single stack, every single pitcher, there's some degree of success and failure in there. And what you're trying to do is find the guys that people think are going to fail more than they actually will and take those guys. And the guys that are going to succeed, the people that aren't on those guys, you want to roster them. I know it sounds like overly simplistic, but that's what he's doing. Find the inefficiencies in the public.
Even when you look at seasonal fantasy football, if I say I don't like somebody, it doesn't mean that I won't draft them. It just means I won't take them where they're currently projected to be drafted.
Right.
But if you're getting value on them, you'll do it. And in this case, you can look at value as lower ownership than they should be.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, I'm not a big Christian McCaffrey fan this year, and then you're sitting there at 9 and he's up, and you're just like, well, I'm taking Christian McCaffrey.
Exactly. Right.
It's just that, that's just how it works.
Just how it works.
Alrighty. Final plug. MLB Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus. Any monthly package you choose. Monthly being the key word. No weekly, no annual. Promo code won't work, but I promise we'll get you straightened out if you try to use it and it doesn't. Use the promo code MLB Strategy for 50% off your first month. And shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor of this show. I am dropping the link into YouTube chat for EMAC Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article, so you can get a little bit of information as to how to sign up for Yahoo. And you can use the promo code AWESOMO. Get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. You can get it into their no management fee contest, their 10 max entries, so you're not worrying about 150 lineups. They have, in my opinion, the best week 1 NFL contest in the industry. No management fee, $20 entry fee. It's going to be the first thing that I enter come week 1 NFL Sunday. I love being able to play at Yahoo specifically for NFL just because you have time to like build your lineups out and really concentrate on those 10. You can put a little bit more time into it. I like playing the 10 max. I wish we would get rid of the 150.
Yeah.
Like
in general?
Yeah. It wouldn't be great for me, but I'd prefer it.
I certainly wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
Or just during football season, you wouldn't even have to get rid of it. Just run more contests with 10 max and you'd easily be able to, not everything has to be $1 million the first, but
yeah.
Look, if Yahoo can run a contest, a much smaller daily fantasy operation and pay out $100K to first on a $10 or $25 entry 10 max, then, you can certainly do it everywhere. We'll see what overlay, we'll see what everything looks like, but football season kind of gives you that opportunity the accessibility really just to do whatever you want because so many people play.
100K to first, 50 to second. If you max this contest, $250 on Yahoo. If you put any lineup at all in the top 200, you've already paid off every single entry. That says nothing for the other 9 that you have.
That's pretty wild.
Top 200 and you got back 300 bones.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to enter it.
Meanwhile, like if you play the mini max today and you get 6th, you might still lose money. Actually, today's a bad example because it's one of the mega mini maxes or whatever the hell. But normally it's $100 to 5th place, and you want to stab yourself in the eyes when it happens.
Yes, sir.
On that note, time to talk some baseball for this Tuesday. Did we get ownership yet? Okay, still no ownership, but we'll wait it out. I ran dummy crunches, so that should be fun because, I don't know, when I first looked at the exposures, it made me feel like a dummy. You ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Nats and Orioles. 6-run implied total for the Nats. 3.5 for the O's. 75% chance to win for Washington. Kind of wish this game was in Baltimore, but Corbin going for the Nats. Aaron Brooks going for the Orioles. Corbin, one of those guys in the upper echelon today of 10K plus pitchers. I mean, plus, Andrew Heaney, Yu Darvish knocking on the door of that price tag as well. Aaron Brooks looks to be a pretty awful option. What do you want to do with Corbin against the O's?
Yeah, I mean, the Orioles active roster's got the 5th highest K rate versus lefties. And they've been pretty underwhelming across the board. You just look at pretty much all of the numbers that matter, and the Orioles ranked somewhere towards the bottom. So, I mean, it is certainly a good spot. And Patrick Corbin can, generate strikeouts against lefties and righties alike. Now, obviously, if there were a decent amount of lefties in this lineup, you'd like him more. But unless you're facing the Mariners, you really aren't going to see many teams run out more than a couple lefties against the southpaw. So on the season, though, Corbin striking righties out at 26%, lefties at 38%, which is just a huge difference. Good against righties, not phenomenal, but man, 14% swinging strike rate, an xFIP that's sitting at 3.84 against righties, and he's going to see a lot of them. I guess the question, and I'll throw it back to you, is I mentioned at the top of the show, you got 7 guys above 10K. You got Verlander. I'll just reference DraftKings for now. Verlander, Lucas Giolito, Patrick Corbin, Walker Buehler, Charlie Morton, Mike Minor, and Luis Castillo. Castillo's facing Miami. Buehler's facing the Padres. Verlander's facing Tampa. I mean, I could say a lot of good things about Corbin, but I don't necessarily know how I can make that work.
Yeah, he's 4th for me. Right as of right now, it's Buehler, Verlander, Castillo, Corbin.
And if
like
you had the top
you
three,
could wiggle those guys a little bit
I
too.
was gonna say if those top three were interchangeable, I'd be okay with that too.
They are. The lineups themselves will tell the story.
Yeah.
8 hours from now or whatever. But I mean, I certainly have my eye on Corbin. That's because Baltimore's Baltimore. They could certainly run out a lineup that is worse than what they're putting out there right now. They could sit Trey Mancini or something ridiculous today. So I will have my eye on Corbin. I don't get the sense that I'll have a ton. There's just too many other options. It's going to be really hard to get a ton of anybody at the top. There's just too many other pivots. The moment that someone's ownership creeps higher, you just should naturally be trying to get to a different side because there are too many choices at the top to go super duper crazy on one. Now you could take a stand, that's one thing, but if ownership gets crazy, I don't think that there's any value in like getting very chalky today at the top.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, man, the matchups for Buehler and Castillo are really, really good.
Yeah, not too shabby there.
And both of these guys, Buehler particularly, he just has that insane ceiling.
Yeah.
Where like once in a while you'll see a rough start from it. Hell, against Miami, he was dreadful. But he's look at like just in his last 10, you got a 53 fantasy point start, 39, 52. He really has the potential to rack up. We've seen it 15, 14 strikeouts. And against this Padres team, it's not just a possibility. Like it could very easily happen.
Yeah, and I hope it does because I assume he'll be my highest owned guy at the top. But
I would think so.
We shall see.
I think he's under. When you compare him to Giolito, like Buehler's underpriced.
Yeah. Buehler is properly the second most expensive pitcher on FanDuel. Castillo is third. I think all three of those things make sense.
Yeah.
On DraftKings, though, with Buehler at 11K, having Giolito massively above him. Well, not massive, but $500 in this range. And then Castillo all the way at 10K. They're just underpriced.
And on Yahoo, Giolito, Corbin, and Buehler are all 51. They're $11 less expensive than Verlander, which makes them like way more appealing. And then Castillo's 50. So Giolito, Corbin, Buehler, Castillo, all of them in that same tier.
Yeah. What do you want to do with Nats bats against Brooks? Because they look pretty damn good to me, although a little pricey.
Yeah, no, I certainly have no issues with this whatsoever. Aaron Brooks' home run rate is astronomical.
Seems about right. I mean, I think, is there an Orioles pitcher that doesn't have an astronomical home run rate? I think they broke the record for home runs already, and it's August.
Yeah, very fair question, for sure. But you've just seen a ton of home runs allowed from this guy. 2.18 home runs per 9, 17% strikeout rate. I mean, he's allowed 20 home runs in 82 innings. So, I mean, that's not good.
No.
And they've come against lefties and righties alike, which just makes it that much more appealing if you're looking to stack this team. He doesn't miss bats. He's got a 5+ xFIP. I'm not sure I can find anything really redeeming about Brooks here. An ISO of like 270. I mean, it's bad.
They're my top team that aren't playing in Coors today.
I have no issue with that at all. What's their implied total?
I have it at 6. So it wouldn't shock me if Alex comes in at like 6.2, 6.3.
Yeah, 9.8.
Yeah. I can't even find anything that I don't like. Even Yan Gomes at 3,400 is like, yeah, I want to have all 8 guys. Soto and Adams obviously looking like the tastiest piece here, but I mean, it's not as if Anthony Rendon at 5,500 is some schlub.
Right. I actually have him at 6.3 now.
Okay.
So either way, I mean, It's a very, very appealing spot.
Yeah, this is whatever I grabbed at 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just continuing on an upward trajectory. I'm just quickly looking at the other teams. You have a Coors game, so both of those teams are above 6. But it looks like Washington has
they're third.
The highest non-Coors total.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Matt Adams is $2,800 on FanDuel today.
Wow.
That's I'm going to want a decent amount of that. I assume the public will too.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what ownership looks like on these Nats bats, but
Same.
simply enough, I don't see myself getting the Corbin. I see myself getting to a lot of Washington bats. And as far as Baltimore goes on a 15 gamer, I don't even think you need to get cute and target a righty power bat or whatever against Corbin.
No, not at all. If it's anybody, it's Mancini, 4K. But I mean, there's too many options out there. He's just a guy in a sea of guys.
Yep.
Yeah, the Nats ownership will be interesting because of that massive total in Coors and the fact that Boston is there.
Right.
Like the Nats could go mildly overlooked because of that, which I couldn't be happier about. Your Phillies, 5.4 run implied total. Pirates, 4-6, 57% chance to win for Philadelphia. My dong pick came through yesterday. I had Bryce Harper in the return, put one in the seats. Thank you very much, Bryce.
He actually didn't put one in the seats. It bounced off the top wall. It was a pretty short one.
Okay. Did it bounce into the seats?
Bounce back onto the field.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to be accurate here, you know.
Well, fuck.
That's all.
Just assumed, you know.
I hear you, man. I mean, look, most of the time you make that statement, you're going to be right.
So he was like 3 inches far enough that it didn't just become a ball off the top of the wall.
I mean, they literally reviewed it because one ump called it a double. Yeah. That happened.
I'll take what I can get. Like I said, Bryce Harper was going to dong yesterday. We don't need the details.
And he did.
Yeah.
And he did. Just not into the seats.
Yeah.
But yeah, what can you do? Stephen Brault, Drew Smiley.
Yeah. This isn't going to be really problematic for me.
Why, are you going to play Smiley?
Yeah, like a lot. A lot.
Honestly, I understand it.
He's 46.
I don't want to understand it, but I do understand it. And the Pirates have been really bad against lefties.
Dead last, active roster.
Yeah. Dead last in ISO. Dead last in WRC plus. I mean, the only thing is, and dead last in WOBA. Picture that too. I mean, they're worse. They've been worse than the Tigers, and the Marlins. The only issue here is they do not strike out heavily at all.
No.
So you're hoping Smiley gets some called strikeouts or something. But at that price point, there's zero chance I'm going to argue it with you.
Yeah.
Or against you.
Minus 160 on over 4.5 strikeouts for Smiley is the line right now.
It's actually not that bad at that price.
Surprised me when I saw it.
Minus 160 on the yes.
On over 4.5 right now. That's all I need to know. Like, he's 4,600, and the Pirates, even if you don't think it's a good strikeout matchup, which on paper it's not. Apparently, it's not that bad, and the Pirates have been worse than every other team in baseball against lefties. That's all I need to know at 4,600. I don't nothing else matters.
I'm with it.
Because he can die, and your lineup's still not dead.
No, and he could also have 12, and you'd be okay.
Yeah. I expect to have a lot of Drew Smiley, and then, spoiler alert for the future, a lot of Adrian Hauser. I don't expect to have a lot of Stephen Brault.
Yeah, I can't see that being the case. As a matter of fact, I'd probably have no problem going to the Philly bats here. Yeah. They've been a colossal disappointment, and as I'll say, as I always do, just garbage baseball team. But, it's Stephen Brault in a really unfavorable park shift, right? Stephen Brault has actually calmed down a little bit, and he really hasn't been that bad. But I don't buy into this guy by being a solid lefty by any stretch, at least not right now. I think the advantage still goes to the Phillies. I don't know how much I'd get of them, but they have a 5.5 run total, which is one of the highest on the slate. And Citizens Bank Park is one of the best homer parks in the league.
Yeah, and it's an incredible homer park for righties, which fits right in with Stephen Brault being on the bump. So, I mean, Rhys Hoskins for $12 on Yahoo is probably one of the best Yahoo plays of the day. I'd be shocked if he's not the obvious cash play at first. I haven't looked at the rest of the position, but I mean, he is going to be a tremendous value there. Not
He
like
has been
3,900
so
and 4,500 are all that bad either.
He's been so unbelievably bad. It's astounding.
Yeah, it's that's the tricky part of baseball when people go on like a month-long streak of just being absolute trash, but he has a history of being really good. Like reconciling that is so difficult, but I tend to bet on the larger sample, and that means Rhys Hoskins is going to be in a hell of a lot of lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. It's just been tough to watch, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that the Phillies are going to get a ton of ownership just because of the Nats, because of the Coors game. So if they go a little underrepresented, I want to have Hoskins, Real Muto, Harper, even Corey Dickerson, I would imagine gets very little ownership because it's lefty-lefty, but
he hit a
he's
laser.
Only going to face lefties.
What about the other side though? We got ownership. Drew Smyly is the highest projected owned pitcher.
Nice.
I'm hardly surprised. Now, I'm talking DraftKings specifically.
Yeah. You don't want him on FanDuel.
Now, Adrian Hauser is the second highest owned. Mind you, not pitcher, player. Both of them highest owned players. Look, at this rate, I'm not against at least talking through a Pittsburgh stack because, by the way, Josh Bell hit a home run that was so far yesterday. Like one of the
Did that one go in the seats?
No, it went into the concourse.
I was gonna say into the parking lot.
Yeah. And he's a big guy, so those I love it. Those swings where it looks like you're just kind of warming up. You're not really trying to hit a baseball, but it goes 500 feet.
Yeah,
that's what he did.
Okay.
What are your thoughts though on Pittsburgh here? Smiley's this popular, and look, I know he's really cheap, but he's still Drew Smyly. Like he has still been a home run machine this year.
I have a little bit. I got to them a little bit on DraftKings, so I can't say that I'm not interested. I would have assumed that I wasn't interested, but they're pretty well. They're not even really cheap.
I know it's a tough spot.
I mean, clearly, I like Josh Bell, although he's better from the left side than the right side. Starling Marte looks good, although he's better against righties than lefties. It's weird. I got to a lot of Pablo Reyes. He's 2,900. Look, I would like to get to the Pirates because Drew Smyly is getting owned in this game is in Philadelphia, but I don't think that Pittsburgh is like a particularly likely top stack. This is more of a leverage play than anything else if Smyly gets bombed.
It's actually astounding how bad Smyly has been against lefties this year. He's allowing a home run per every 7.8 plate appearances.
Oh, that's good.
7.8, not a hit, not a double, a home run. 11 home runs and 86 batters faced. 500 ISO, 5.6 home runs per 9. Wow.
I got to a ton of Hoskins, Real Muto, and Harper, by the way. Like 20-something% of all three.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're Bryce Harper is 2% owned. Real Muto 8, Hoskins 8.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
Gotta still refresh FanDuel. Yeah, look, I'm gonna have that those top three guys in Philly for sure, and probably a lot more of Philly.
I like Marte too, by the way.
So do I. Yeah, I like getting to some of the Pirates. It's a scary spot, but it's all righties except for Stephen Brault, so
yeah,
worth a shot. But I also got to 33% Smyly, so I understand where the field is coming from there.
Yeah, no question.
I don't have anything else here.
No, let's
I'm going to circle back to the Nats quick. Nats are third in ownership on DK. They are second on FanDuel. I'm basically with the field right now. Matt Adams, hella chalk on FanDuel. Brian Dozier, hella chalk on FanDuel. That should be expected. Dozier 2,300 there. No ownership going to the Orioles. Pat Corbin, 23% owned on Yahoo, 15 on FanDuel, 8 on DK. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected differently.
No. Alrighty. Blue Jays and Braves. 4.4 run implied total for the Jays, 5-1 for the Braves. I don't know if this line is actually out yet or not. Technically, I don't think Toronto has a starter, but I believe that it's going to be Zach Godley coming in after Wilmer Font.
Yeah, I don't see I haven't seen anything either. I looked earlier. Actually just looked right now, and I don't see it. So
Perfect. We'll go with what I made up.
but it looks
Soroka going
it
for the
looks
Braves.
from what I've seen though, it's like once again where he's an option,
Yeah.
but we don't know if he's actually going to.
Either way, unless he's $0, it's not going to matter. Godley's 6,900. You're not playing him one way or the other.
Yeah, no thanks.
They can name him the starter. They can name him the long guy. They can name him whatever you want. You're not playing Zach Godley. And I don't get the sense that you're playing Mike Soroka. Basically unowned across the board. Good pitcher, not a great DFS pitcher. Too many options today for me to want to spend 9,300 on Soroka.
Yeah, I don't see myself doing that at all. And you might say, "Oh, not a bad price." No, he's not a bad price, but really neither is Luis Castillo or Walker Buehler.
No.
Like I'll put it simply. I don't even want to spend too much time on this. Soroka's a good pitcher. He is not an elite fantasy pitcher.
Nope.
Luis Castillo is a good pitcher, and he's a really good fantasy pitcher. He is not much more expensive than Soroka whatsoever. I guess if you were to talk about like FanDuel, sure, Soroka's 88, Castillo's 11, but even so, like I just still have a very difficult time getting there. To me, it's the big difference in upside today and projection.
Yeah, we're on the exact same page here. He's just not necessary on a slate like this.
No.
Blue Jays bats are 19th in ownership on FanDuel. They're basically unowned outside of Biggio on DK. Braves are 4th on DraftKings, 4th on FanDuel. Mostly the top 4. They've got Donaldson, Albies, and Acuna all at 18 or 19% on FanDuel. They're not really getting a ton of love on DK, so I didn't get much in my crunch. Probably because of how much ownership they're picking up, and they're still expensive. Freeman at 52, Donaldson 49, Acuna 53. You got to pay up quite a bit. If this line comes in bigger than what I have in, it's possible that I get to a little bit more Atlanta. But for right now, it's probably more like small stack one-off type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but I mean, we're only on our 3rd game, and there's already a couple teams I like more than them, and we haven't gotten the Coors yet either. So I just don't see it being a priority here. I mean, Godley has not been good this season whatsoever. And I guess he's looked a little bit better in a relief role, but I don't know if it's enough for me to really be heavy on these Braves bats. And as you mentioned, you're not, at least on DraftKings here, many of them are not cheap to the point where you're like, all right, well, now I have to play them.
Exactly. Any Blue Jays?
No, I don't. Like I said, Soroka's a very good real life pitcher.
Yeah. I got to 1% of Rowdy Tellez on FanDuel and DK, which, if I'm going to get somebody, give me the
make it rowdy.
Give me the meatball slugger,
Yeah, you can get rowdy.
All right. Mets and Cubs. 4.3 run implied total for the Mets, 4.2 for the Cubs. Coin flip game. Marcus Stroman, Yu Darvish. Stroman actually getting to 13% ownership on Yahoo, where he's just $32. No real ownership anywhere else. Darvish, 17 on Yahoo, 7 on FanDuel, 11 on DraftKings. I mean, I guess I like Darvish a little bit here. I didn't get to him at all. I don't get the sense that I want any pitching here. Not that I have a huge problem with it. It's just another day where there's better options.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, where would you rank him?
Darvish?
Yeah.
I mean, we're skipping Stroman. Like he's Mike Soroka, but for the Mets.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Yu Darvish here against the Mets at a pretty elevated price point.
Yeah, I mean, I have him behind Andrew Heaney. I have him behind Luis Castillo. Those are the two guys immediately above him in salary. Mm-hmm. I would rather have Darvish than Soroka. I would probably rather have Caleb Smith than Darvish. So right away, like 3 out of the 4 guys that are bookending Darvish are already, in my opinion, better. That doesn't mean that Darvish is bad. It's pretty loaded at the top.
There's just no way to prioritize it here. Look, I'm entirely with you. Darvish $9,600 on DraftKings. on our sponsor Yahoo 45, which is also expensive. And then on FanDuel, he's coming in at 9K. So you're not getting a discount on Darvish anywhere. He's certainly been a lot better recently, but once again, I just don't see the need to go there when you can get to other really good pitchers in better matchups for basically the same price or a little bit more.
Yeah, it's just not going to be for me. And I didn't get any hitting in this game. Not either side, basically nothing. I guess Todd Frazier on Yahoo for $8 looks okay. I mean, here's the easiest way to put it. All three sites, both teams, the most that anyone has owned anywhere is 7% Jeff McNeil on FanDuel. Everybody else is 4 or below.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in offense on either side here.
No, the only thing I would point out is that Darvish has allowed 30 home runs this season. So it has been an issue at times.
Yeah.
And even since he's settled down, you're still look, he allowed 4 home runs in his last start to the Giants, right? And then he went 7 scoreless with 10 Ks. And then prior to that, against Cincinnati, he gave up 4 runs and 3 home runs. So he's allowed multiple home runs on many occasions this season. I'm not saying that it's a great spot at all, but it is at least worth mentioning that the long ball has been a massive issue for Darvish this year. I mean, 7 home runs over his last 3 starts is at least worth talking about. So keep that in mind if you're looking to do anything different today. Darvish has a serious home run problem.
Yeah, it would be, I think it's reasonable to look at someone like Conforto as a one-off here.
Yeah, right. And it's stacking them probably unnecessary, but man, what a struggle that's been, even though he's been pretty good recently.
Yeah, there's like no bright green on my sheet for either one of these teams. It's just all sort of like yellows and oranges and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think we can move on.
Perfect. I love when we get games where it's just like, nothing.
Oh, I know.
Nothing better than not having to talk for our job of having to talk.
Yeah, well, we somehow still spend 10 minutes on a game that we have no one in.
That's true. Tigers and Indians, 4.3 run implied total for the Tigers, 5-1 for the Indians, 57% chance to win for Cleveland. Spencer Turnbull for the Tigers.
A bull.
Adam Plutko going for Cleveland. Neither guy getting owned on either site. I got a couple shares of Plutko, but that's pretty much just randomness in the morning for me. I don't want either pitcher, and apparently the public doesn't either. Am I missing anything?
No, I'd rather just talk about Indian bats here. I think it's a semi-interesting spot for them. 5.3 run total, not bad. I think Turnbull is at least respectable. Yeah. He's not good. He's not bad. In terms of run prevention, he's actually done a decent enough job this season. Seems to be a guy that goes out there, gives you 6 innings and gives up 3 runs, right? Yeah. Maybe a home run or so, but he hasn't been terrible. He'll finish with 5 strikeouts or whatever. But I think the Indians are a decent enough team with, enough left-handed power to make it at least interesting. Although I will say, Turnbull's done a very good job of limiting power this season, and that's something that you have to look at when you're trying to gauge the quality of some of these offenses. Yeah, he has not allowed a lot of power to lefties or righties.
I anticipate getting some Cleveland because I tend to get Cleveland more than I usually want to. I usually can't stop it somehow. But as of right now, I don't have them. Puig is pretty chalky. He's at 13% ownership. I guess chalky is relative. He's in double digits. That's not super chalky. I didn't get to him really. I didn't even get to Lindor, and he's a guy that I normally get to always. I think that's just sort of a testament to Colorado, Boston, and to a lesser degree, Nats. Yep. I don't need to fill shortstop with Lindor because Xander Bogaerts, Trevor Story, and Trey Turner are already 3 options with like 6-run plus implied totals. So
I agree.
Lindor and getting pinched a bit.
Turnbull actually has a lower X ISO versus lefties than an actual ISO. So
okay.
Just to state that it's not like he's been super lucky or anything.
Right. Well, then maybe I don't feel so bad about not getting to Cleveland. Puig for $13 on Yahoo looks pretty good. Franmil Reyes for 11 looks pretty good. I mean, there are shares of Cleveland that I want because they have a ton of power, but I don't think that I'm going to have a lot. Similarly, I'm certainly not going to have a lot of the mildly chalky Tigers in some degree. Ronnie Rodriguez, 25% owned on FanDuel. Brandon Dixon, 19. I don't need any of that garbage.
No. I'll just say one more thing on the Indians.
Yeah.
If an Indian stack were to win, the $11 tonight, I wouldn't be surprised by it at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Lindor, Mercado, Santana, Puig. I mean, Kipnis as a second baseman, sure. Franmil Reyes.
They're a very stackable team too. Like they're pretty easy. It's a pretty easy team to stack. Positionally, not necessarily price tag.
Yeah, Perez, $3,400 catcher. I mean, at least he's got pop.
Mm-hmm.
You're not happy to have him, but if you're in a 5-man, you're not happy. Or you're not mad that you brought him along with it.
For sure.
They could be sneaky. And that's it. Marlins and Reds. 3.2 run implied total for the Marlins. 3.9 for the Reds. 58% chance to win for Cincy. Caleb Smith for the Marlins. Luis Castillo for the Reds. Caleb Smith, 19% owned on Yahoo. 11 on FanDuel. 13 on DK. Luis Castillo, quite chalky on Yahoo and DK. 33 and 23 respectively. 8% only on FanDuel where he's 11,000. Let's start with Luis Castillo. He gets the benefit of facing Miami in Miami, which is like the most sought after matchup you can find. And he's getting the ownership that I think he deserves. I have no problem with him being 23% owned. That I don't think that's crazy high. If it got much higher than that, I would want to just, siphon off a little bit of shares just because of the way the slate is at the top. But I mean, he should be owned. Marlins suck. This park is great.
You're strong on that timestamp game today. I don't think you've missed one yet.
I haven't put one in yet.
Oh, okay. So you're just typing over on your spreadsheet every time you change games.
Yep.
Oh, all right. Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo is tall. Luis Castillo against Miami. What is there not to like?
Yeah.
I mean, really. And because it's a deep slate, you're getting him at like a big discount from Sonny Gray yesterday. It's twice the amount of games. I just think 10K on Castillo is really inexpensive. And he's got to be one of your favorite pitchers tonight. I don't see how he wouldn't be. Just look over.
Cash starter on DraftKings?
To me, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Bueller is the one exception, right? If you wanted to say Bueller is a guy, but I think the $1,000 discount on Castillo makes a lot of sense there. Yeah. So I'd be much obliged to take that. I mean, look, he's got a 30% strikeout rate against lefties, 27 against righties, but he doesn't allow virtually any power whatsoever. He's got a 3.5 xFIP. A solid enough ground ball rate. It's above 50%. I think it's like 55%. And you're going to be hard pressed to find something not to like about him. And I think at that price, you're getting him at a discount when you compare it to other pitchers at a similar tier. Like if he's 10K, I don't think Andrew Heaney should be 98. Even though we'll get there, and against Texas, it's a very interesting spot. Yeah. But if he's 10K, I don't think Corbin should be 11-2. It just seems strange to me.
Yeah. Luis Castillo is just fitting perfectly in at that 10K spot.
Yeah.
Now, at 11K on FanDuel, I don't need to get too crazy. I don't think that's a wrong price tag. But, with him at 11 and Bueller at 11.6 and Verlander at 12.3, I mean, you're paying the full freight for all three of them.
Yep, exactly.
God, pitching's going to be so scary tonight. Now, Smith, 9K on DK, 8,400 FanDuel, 43 on Yahoo. I mean, it's not as if the Reds' offense is like some scary beast. Now, they are projected to run out 8 righties, which isn't exactly great for Caleb Smith, but the park should help. He certainly has strikeout upside. I'm going to have a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy, but he's at 13% ownership. That's higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, it is. I guess this would be the question I have to you. Would you rather Caleb Smith or would you rather Andrew Heaney?
That's a good question. I have Caleb Smith is slightly ahead in terms of point per dollar. I would say that Heaney has a better strikeout matchup. I think he has the higher ceiling just because of Rangers bats. I think they're second in strikeout rate against lefties this year. So in a large field GPP, I would rather have Heaney. If I was trying to play more of a cash game, I think I would get closer to Caleb Smith.
Okay. Makes sense.
I like them almost equally relative to their salaries.
So does the field.
Yeah. I agree with the field.
I don't have any issue with Caleb Smith today at 9K. I mean, I would likely roster him at a discount over Darvish. It is a good park. He's he's only allowed 7 home runs at Marlins Park all season long. Caleb Smith does have some issues when it comes to the home run, but this is not the most frightening team at all. And another thing is the Reds have been striking out a lot more lately. So I think you can take that into consideration. I believe more so against righties. More against righties for sure. They have a 25% K rate against righties, only 20% against lefties. But there's just still not an overwhelmingly productive offense. So I don't have an issue with Caleb Smith, but how much you get to him is tough on a slate where there's a lot of good pitching.
Yeah, it's loaded from 9K up. And I don't like that. I'm even selling like Pineda and Tanaka and stuff short too.
Yep. No, yeah, for sure.
Bats, I certainly don't want Marlins. I don't really want Reds either, although getting one-off shares of Suarez or Aquino is reasonable, but if Aquino's 4,200 on FanDuel, I'm going to just go ahead and skip it.
Yeah, the guy's been ridiculously good. So I zero issue with playing him against the lefty who has had some power troubles, but the furthest thing from a priority either.
Mm-hmm. Just priced too either. This is not a game for offense, so for the Marlins, will go for 19.
Yep.
Well, that's it for the 7:05 and 7:10 games. Perfect opportunity for everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. I think so, at least.
I think it's a wise decision, sure.
Coming up later today.
Can't hurt you.
No, not at all. Coming up later today, deeper dive, 445. I think you're for sure going to need that extra 15 today. Lofty will be back with Adam and the boss man, Alex Baker. And then live before lock immediately following it. Same link. You don't have to go anywhere. It'll be myself and Chris Randone. And then at 8 o'clock today, it's a little bit different than normal. Guys weren't able to do the show tomorrow. So no PGA live before lock on Wednesday. You're getting it tonight at 8 p.m. Ben Rossa and Jason Roslin will be talking about, I don't know, whatever the European event is that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Euro Masters something or other.
I have zero idea.
It's normally I know that and I can rattle off the stupid PGA event. European Master something. I don't know. Rory's playing in it. So that's fun. I tried.
You want a lot of money.
Yeah. So you'll get that content. You shouldn't listen to me for PGA stuff. Just know that it's a Euro event. It's a pretty big tournament in general, and Rory McIlroy will be in it. And he is the favorite to win.
I think you've already said too much.
I couldn't agree more. I'm still just trying to remember it, see if I could jog my own memory. It didn't work.
But I did the same. And if you keep talking, right, aimlessly, it'll come to you in mid-thought. But then you realize you just said a bunch of useless shit that got you nowhere.
Every morning for an hour and a half, I do that. Oh, man. Yeah. Also, check out 2 separate videos from last night. The live charity fantasy football league draft and the recap video, which was hosted by Lofty with Christopher Harris and Alex.
Yeah, really fun show, man. Chris Harris did a great job, and we broke down everything. And even if you've already done your drafts, it gives you some good insight into the season and what we're expecting for certain players. So yeah, appreciate Chris joining us yesterday too.
I want to touch on something that I noticed during that draft last night, and I would have loved to say it on the stream while it was happening. So I saw Manny pick up who did he have? Freeman and Ridley and Matt Ryan, maybe.
He didn't have Freeman, but he won't draft damn running backs. Like the guy went like 7 rounds without a running back.
Was it just Ridley and Matt Ryan then?
It was Ridley and Matt Ryan, yeah.
And then I saw that he was trying to swing a trade because he picked for Julio. And I really enjoyed that he was able to get Falcons in the draft and tried to pivot on the fly to a stacked Falcons lineup as like a Falcons onslaught for 16 weeks. I think that's really interesting.
It is.
We employ stacking in DFS. Why wouldn't you want to do it in season long?
Because, well, one of the reasons is you're only playing against one other person each week.
True.
So
that's true.
There are
it's
weeks
more of a cash game.
What?
It's more like a cash game.
Correct. So there are weeks where it will really work. And at the end of the season, your accumulative points might look really good. And I'm not even knocking the approach. What I'm saying is I think the reason not everyone does it is because you are playing against one other person. And, from a week to week basis, it's a boom or bust spot, which is why I like to pair my quarterback with one wide receiver or pass catcher. If you were to do two, like I get it, but it's also lowering your floor and raising your ceiling.
Yeah, I like that because he picked Hopkins 4, and he was immediately trying to flip. Was it 3?
He went Hopkins ahead of Kamara.
He was trying to flip Hopkins for Julio during the draft. And I was like, that's fun.
I know. He went Hopkins ahead of McCaffrey. I couldn't believe it, which I think is a mistake. I love Hopkins.
Yeah, that's early.
I love Hopkins.
For what's available still.
Well, in a full PPR league, like McCaffrey might have 100 receptions.
Yep.
So
not to mention everything else he's going to do for the Panthers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. If you're going to go like full on onslaught in season long, you're basically just saying, I'll make the playoffs. I hope they go crazy in 15 and 16.
Pretty much.
If you do, you win it all.
Pretty much. Yep. Exactly. That's how I lost. I have like a big money dynasty league, like that we all take very seriously. And I was in the championship last year, and I lost against a Philadelphia Eagles stack with Nick Foles at the helm.
Ooh, that one must have stung for all sorts of reasons.
Well, it was actually okay because second place was a good amount of money, and the Eagles still won. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's bittersweet, but at least the Eagles won. You know how it goes.
Do you like Foles
as a person?
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, we're good friends. Me and BDN. As a person, he seems like a genuinely nice guy. He even changed his number because he said his old number stays in Philly, which respect. As a quarterback, no, I don't. I think a lot of it was the system that he was placed in.
Okay.
And look, under pressure though, first of all, never take away anything that Nick's done. I'll love this guy forever. Let me be clear about that. Anyone that's an Eagles fan should forever cherish everything that we got from Nick Foles last year too, because that was Alshon Jeffrey that let it slip through his hands for that interception as Foles was driving down the field. Could have beat the Saints there. You remember that game?
I do.
So, I mean, we also we won the game before on a missed field goal that Hester deflected. But no, I think he's an upgrade from Blake Bortles, but saying much more than that would be a stretch.
Okay. I didn't know where you landed on him not being there any longer. So,
I mean, if Wentz is healthy, he is just a markedly better quarterback.
Sure. We're on the same page. Brewers and Cards. Let's get back to baseball. 4.9 run implied total for Milwaukee. 4-1 for the Cards. 58% chance to win for the Brew Crew. Adrian Hauser for Milwaukee. Miles Michaelis going for the Cards. Hauser and Michaelis not getting any ownership on Yahoo or FanDuel. Michaelis still not getting it on DK. Hauser, though, 5K on DraftKings, 28% expected ownership. I'm north of that number. I want to have Hauser here. I just think he's too cheap.
Yeah, you mentioned that. He's also so you're coming in north of the ownership, which is actually second highest on the slate.
Yeah, he is quite the bargain to me.
All right. Well,
he's tied with Smiley for my best point per dollar play of the day.
I mean, I get what you're saying. And Adrian Hauser really has not been all that bad either. What do you expect? What are we expecting from him is probably a conversation to be had. Like, what would you be happy with from Adrian Hauser today? Because he's very cheap.
Happy with?
Yeah. Like, what would you be saddest? What would you be all right with? Like, obviously, we need to see how things play out. I understand that. Totally hypothetical.
I mean, if he gets 10, I'm like, okay, this lineup can do whatever it needs to do.
Okay.
I have him projected for 16.
He has a 25%.
What's up?
Oh, you froze up on me.
Oh, am I good?
Yeah. I said he had a 25% K rate. He does have a 25% strikeout rate. Yeah. So
he's projected
at 5K.
The line is 5.5 for him. Equal action on both sides.
Okay.
Which is where I had him coming in as well, so I didn't feel the need to like really tweak anything.
Yeah, and well, here's what I find fascinating. The Cardinals have a 4.2 run total. That's really low for 2019 against Adrian Hauser.
For real.
At Miller Park?
That jumps in Miller Park, and he's a pitcher that's $5,000.
Yeah, that really jumps off the page.
Yeah. He's not like 8K, like he's 7,500 on FanDuel. If he were 7,500 on DraftKings, this would be a very different story. I don't know what you do at 5K. Yeah, you have to play him.
Yeah, and you look at innings pitched, just given the price point, 5 innings, 6 innings, 7, 5 1/3. Dude, if Hauser gives you even 5 innings, you're pretty happy. But what's encouraging is we've seen him throw 95 plus pitches in 2 of his last 3 starts. He's thrown 89 or more in each of his last 4. For a 10K pitcher, an 8K pitcher, that's not like overwhelmingly positive. For a 5K pitcher with a 4.2 total against him, 90 pitches is pretty encouraging.
It is. I couldn't be happier about getting to Hauser here. I don't really have a natural pivot either. Like Hauser and Smiley are getting the ownership, and I agree with it. I don't know who I would go to otherwise. So I think I'm just going to be there. I mean, they're the only 2 guys I have north of 3 points per dollar. So I think I just have to eat that today.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put it out there right now. I like Hauser a lot more than Smiley.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, Drew Smiley is, I don't know, an acquired taste.
I don't even know if it's like if you were forced to eat shit and then acquire the taste of eating shit because you're forced to do it, he's an acquired taste.
That'll do it. Sense? There's your soundbite, Brett.
I think it's a pretty apt analogy, actually.
Get the beep button ready.
You sure? Well, you kicked it off earlier. Now I just feel all right saying whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
No, but no, I just think Adrian Hauser's a better pitcher, man. Like he's striking out north of a batter per inning with 25% strikeouts. Hauser's not that bad.
No, not at all. He shouldn't be 5K. That's like that price tag is broken.
It's crazy. And he's got 24% or higher strikeouts against lefties and righties, which to me is also very encouraging. I just think, look, you said you're coming in above his ownership.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised, but it shouldn't be that Drew Smiley is at 31 and Hauser's at 28. Hauser should be at, 40 and Smiley should be at like 25.
I don't disagree. And I wouldn't be shocked to see those 2 flip-flop as we get closer to lock.
Not at all. I wouldn't either.
I actually got to a little bit of Michaelis, which I'm not terribly shocked by. 5,800 today. It's not a great spot, but at the same time, it's still only a 4.9 run implied total for the Brewers in Milwaukee. That's oddly low. So I'll get a couple shares. He's not owned. It's not something that I would like ride really hard for. It just so happens he's another pay down option that exists below 6K. But Hauser and Smiley are massively better. And I think Mike Leake is probably a little bit better too.
4.9 run total is pretty interesting though, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
So something to keep in mind. But Hauser is the play here. From a hitting ownership perspective, no one's getting owned outside of Grandal and Yelich. Grandal is $13 on Yahoo, so that one's a no-brainer.
How does that happen?
I don't know. Matt Carpenter is $9 on Yahoo, so he's getting a little bit of ownership, but neither team is getting stacked up. I don't really feel the need to like stack against Hauser. I don't mind getting some of the lefty power from Milwaukee, but that's basically just Grandal and Yelich now, depending on how you feel about Eric Thames, but he's 4,700. I don't get the sense that I'll have offense in this one.
No, if anything, I mean, if anything, you look at Miles Michaelis, you look at his struggles against lefties. They're pretty significant, right? I mean, you just take it for his or for 2019, he's allowing like a WOBA above 360, 369 as a matter of fact, more than 1.5 home runs per nine, 16% strikeouts. All of these numbers are pretty bad. So yeah, if you were to look at a lefty or two here, I get it. I'm really not interested in a full stack, especially now that Mike Moustakas is likely sidelined for this one. That takes some shine off, because when you're stacking this team against a righty, you really want to have like Yelich, Moustakas, and Grandal in there, and now you've only got two of them. Probably just some one-off spots for me.
Grandal, Yelich, maybe Thames.
Yeah, Thames if you need him, sure.
And I'll probably be done. I didn't get to a single share of the Cardinals on either site, and I barely got to anything from Milwaukee, so it's just Hauser.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Astros and Rays, 4-4 for the Stros, 3-2 for the Rays, 63% chance to win for Houston. It's a fantastic pitching matchup. I would love to watch this game in the ballpark. When I'm there, when you go to games, would you rather see an offensive explosion or a pitcher's duel?
Oh, dude. Offense for me, no question.
Really? I would prefer the pitcher's duel. As long as they're two good pitchers. Like if I go in expecting it.
Right, that's the worst if you go to like a Smiley Brault matchup and
they're dealing.
Because it's not good pitching, it's just really bad hitting.
Yeah.
So it's a bad get. If I'm sitting in the Diamond Club behind the plate, like say in Philly, that's different because you've got a great path, you got a great view of pitching. But like if I'm sitting, say, down the third base line or second base line or first base line, I mean, or even in the outfield, I want an offensive eruption.
Also depends who you're with too.
Yeah, if I'm with Justine, you gotta have offense, because then she's gonna want to go to sleep if there isn't. She loves going to basketball games. She loves it.
Sure,
but
way more entertaining.
If it's a pitcher's duel and it's like 1-0 in the 8th, I can understand that she's not, exhilarated.
Yeah, that is like reading a World War II book to her for 4 hours
and paying $80 for it.
Yeah. While you drink $10 Bud Lights.
Yeah.
And eat whatever is getting served up from Chicky and Pete's.
Yeah, exactly.
Eating a Tony Luke's cheesesteak for $14.
They are delicious, though.
I fucking love them so much. It's the first thing I do when I land in Philly.
Really?
Jam a cheesesteak right down my throat.
You have to. People need to know, though, don't do the Pats and the Genos.
No.
Like,
I mean, don't not do it, but it's not like a gold standard.
Right, but that's the thing. People think they are, and then they're like, "Oh, Philly cheesesteaks aren't that good." It's like, well, you went to the wrong place.
Right. Yeah, that's. I mean, to me, it's like pizza. I'll eat a Pat's and Geno's cheesesteak, and I'm not going to be bummed or anything. But there are better cheesesteaks.
Yeah,
like, a lot. But they just happen to be across the street from each other, and like the media
if you never
spot.
Tried a Philly cheesesteak, they are legit.
I can taste the grease right now.
It's not like, oh yeah, I was in Chicago and I had a Philly cheesesteak. They didn't.
I do. When I hate seeing it called that on the menu everywhere. No.
Won't touch him.
I'm on the same page as you.
You do it with whiz?
I'm a whiz without guy.
I'm a whiz with.
No wit. I hate onions.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's upsetting.
But yeah, whiz for me. I want it to be like the sloppiest garbage sandwich ever.
Oh, yeah. I want my shirt to just have leaked grease all over my pants and my shirt afterwards.
The first time Katie came up north, we were probably dating for like 6 months. So it was like December or January, pick her up in Philly airport at, I don't know, 9:00, something in that neighborhood. Made her go eat a cheesesteak. She had like cheesesteak burps for like 48 hours. It's just not something you should be eating off the plane at, long past dinner time.
No, but I would. Right now.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever told. So it was the day after Christmas, back when I was, it's still in college, and Micro Center near Villanova's campus had like this really good sale on laptops. So I wanted to go and get a laptop. So I was standing in line. Ultimately didn't get this laptop, which was irritating, but had to stay there for like 6 hours. We slept in the car for a bit. So we got up at like 6:30 a.m. once I got skunked on the laptop. I ate 1 Pat's and 1 Geno's cheesesteak on the ride home. One of each.
Oh, man. I feel bad for the driver.
It was me.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go.
Yeah. I had 2 cheesesteaks for breakfast.
That's amazing.
The good old days, man.
I would do it right now.
So I would give anything to have one. It would be so delicious. Verlander and Charlie Morton. That was a bit of a detour.
Yeah, no, very productive though.
Yeah, well, it's been a while, man. We took a week off. Verlander, Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton is getting owned 0% across the board, and honestly, it makes some sense. He gets the Astros, which is pretty difficult, and he's priced like he's not pitching against the Astros. I love Charlie Morton. I don't want him in DFS today.
Nope.
Verlander, 22% owned on Yahoo, 8 on FanDuel, 20 on DK. He's the most expensive pitcher across the board. I'm happy to have him. I don't get the sense that I'll have a lot. I think the public has way more than I would have ever expected. Although I understand why, given the price of Smiley and Hauser.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is pretty simple. Verlander, probably the best overall pitcher on this slate.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at Buehler and Castillo, and Castillo is basically the same ownership and Buehler is less at $1,000 discount on DraftKings, I'm just more than willing to take that. And it even a little bit less about even a little bit less about the ownership is the price point. Like, I just really like Buehler and Castillo. Nothing against Verlander today. Like, if you're rostering Verlander and you're willing to pay for him, totally understand that. Yeah. He is simply that good, and it needs no further explanation. But at the same time, Buehler and Castillo are in spots that are just really, really appealing. So I would say I'd put Verlander third only because of price point. But God, if he's just so good, Josh, that's the thing. He is so good. And even if he gives up some runs, because he's allowed 33 home runs this year, look, 9 innings, 2 earned, 2 homers, both solo shots. 7 innings, 2 earned, 2 homers, both solo shots. 1 earned, solo shot. I don't care about that when you're striking out 11. He struck out double-digit batters in 7 straight starts.
Dirty, man. Dirty. I love it. Look, everything looks good on the surface. The Rays are like an average matchup for him, which is exactly what you're looking for. They've got a microscopic implied total. There's nothing not to like about Verlander other than the fact that he's hella expensive. And he's still easy to get to because of Smiley and Hauser.
Yep. So
but you can save yourself $1,000 or $2,000 and get to Castillo or Buehler and get, 90% of the outcome?
Yeah. I still like Verlander a lot. Like, for me, I'm not talking about Hauser, but the top guys, Verlander, Buehler, and Castillo are easily my top 3. Easily.
Agreed. Completely agree. And sorry, Charlie Morton, I would love to watch this game. It'd probably be really fun, but you're not going to be on the DFS roster today.
No, sir. And neither are bats for this game for me.
No, not so much. I mean, I'm sure someone's going to hit a solo dong off of Verlander. He seems to do that every day, but
I'm not interested in guessing who, though.
no, neither am I. There is no offense here. I have straight 0 across the board. Let's see. Actually, I got 1 share of Abraham Toro against Morton, and that's because he's 2K on DraftKings. So that's going to slip in from time to time. Yeah, there's no offense in this one. Just sit back and watch a good game.
Mm-hmm.
White Sox and Twins, Giolito and Michael Pineda. Basically a coin flip game. Giolito is 51 on Yahoo, 10-3 on FanDuel, 11-5 on DraftKings, and completely unowned. Meanwhile, Pineda, 45 on Yahoo, 92 on FanDuel, 78 on DraftKings, where he's at 10%, and I've got 21. Talk to me about Pineda here. Up against the White Sox, great strikeout matchup. I'm surprised he's not getting a little bit more ownership, but it seems like this mid-tier is kind of just a wasteland.
Yeah, it's probably because, well, no, I know why. Because it's the Castillo Hauser pairing or Verlander Smiley pairing, and pretty much just completely foregoing this middle tier, which maybe doing something different could benefit you today. And if you did, I think it would make sense to, give some consideration to Michael Pineda. But at the same time, whether it's chalky or not, I'm also right now going to have a whole lot of the Castillo and Hauser or Hauser and Bueller.
Yeah, I got to 21% Pineda on this crunch. That's the 4th most of anybody I got to.
I can see it though. I mean, if I'm going to someone in this price range, Pineda would probably be the guy, followed by probably Masahiro Tanaka. He has been all over the map this season. As I say, one of the most enigmatic pitchers. You never know what you're going to get from him ever. But man, Seattle's a bad baseball team. But I think lefty pitchers are better against Seattle because they're forced to run out like 5 or 6 lefties every time. But Pineda would be the guy here in that 7K range for me, and it's pretty simple.
5.5 is the strikeout prop for Pineda tonight. -160 on the over right now.
It's all right, but once again, Smiley's 4.5, and isn't Hauser 5.5?
Yeah, so Hauser and Smiley are standing out there, but on a price per strikeout metric, if Pineda's at 10%, that's the kind of spot I want to be. I'm not super worried about the White Sox.
No. But it's just kind of illustrating why we're going to have. Well, actually, you have a decent amount of Pineda, but more Hauser.
Yeah. Look, if Pineda stays at 10% and I get 20, I think that's a spot I want to be if this mid-range is going to be kind of empty today and people are on the extremes.
Right. I'm with you. I have no interest in Lucas Giolito, not because I don't think he's good, but it's just a difficult matchup, and there are a lot of good pitchers at cheaper price points or comparable price points.
Yeah. No Giolito for me. Certainly no White Sox bats for me. I didn't even really get to the Twins bats either. Sometimes they slip in a little bit more aggressively than I would think, but that's just respect for Giolito. Would I be surprised if Nelson Cruz hits a home run? No. Dude hits a home run every damn day.
Yes, he does.
And in the grand scheme of things, I think that Minnesota ranks pretty well at no ownership. It's just a really tough sell to want to grab them in a mid-tier run matchup against Giolito.
I don't really have bats at all from this game, and with 14 other games to choose from, you can make a pretty good case for just not going to hitters here.
Yeah, I got 1 share of Eddie Rosario on FanDuel and maybe like a 5-man and a 1-off on the Twins out of 150 lineups. So
yeah, it's fine.
That's it. No offense here. To the Royals, who did a hell of a job slowing down Oakland yesterday. 4.5 run implied total for Kansas City, 5-6 for Oakland. Mike Montgomery versus Mike Fiers, the battle of the Mikes. No ownership to any of these guys. People were touting Montgomery a little bit earlier in chat. I was just like, look, it's going to be Smiley and it's going to be Hauser, and sure enough, Mike Montgomery at the flat minimum today, 3% ownership. There's just better options out there. I don't want Montgomery. I don't want Mike Fiers. I don't want Royals bats. I'm probably a day late to the party, but I got a ton of Oakland.
Did you?
Yeah, 5.6 run implied total is, for me, the fourth highest number behind Rockies and Red Sox and Coors and the Nats.
Montgomery had that ridiculous start against Detroit, right?
Yeah.
And then it was
Who
like,
doesn't?
oh, wait, maybe Montgomery's good. Montgomery, honestly, was never bad. He was just never a good fantasy arm, like, ever. But, with the Cubs, he'd go out there and he'd give you – this is when he was starting, of course. He'd give you, like, 5 innings and 3 strikeouts, maybe allow a run or 2. So he's never been a terrible pitcher. But the thing is, and you and I discussed this a couple weeks ago, actually, Oakland against lefties has just been destructive.
Yeah.
I mean, really good numbers for this Oakland team against left-handers, really almost across the board. I don't disagree that this is a pretty favorable spot, especially for these righties, and they can stack this team with righties.
I have 15%. Like, nothing's tweaked. I would never go into it with this sort of extreme, but I got to 21% aggregate ownership on Oakland on FanDuel and 15% on DK. Massive amounts of these guys, like second or third most owned stack. It looks too damn good today. Price tags are really great. Nobody over 3,800 on FanDuel. Half the lineup below 2,500. On DraftKings, only Mark Canha is at 5K. Everybody else below that. Bunch of guys in the threes. Why the hell is Mark Canha at 5K?
I don't know. Chris Davis.
I mean, he must be really hot, and that's why. But yeah, sign me up for this.
Yeah, I'd say he is pretty. Yeah, he's been pretty good.
Pretty good. Alrighty. Favorite bat from Oakland today?
It's honestly, whether you like it or not, it's still got to be Chris Davis at that massively discounted price point. He's too cheap. He's got the platoon advantage, and it's an Oakland team that hits lefties really well. So I expect to see, potentially 5 plate appearances for him at 3,400.
Yeah, 26% owned on Yahoo at the flat minimum. 25% owned on FanDuel, where he's 2,300.
Crazy.
It's preposterous, honestly.
And he's going to be very popular, but I think in terms of just like point per dollar, if you even want to use that for baseball, which you really can't for hitters, but you know what I mean? Like, for at that price with his power, Davis is on paper your best option for Oakland.
He's very clearly my top value option, like dollar for dollar option on the Oakland A's. Hard to not be.
Yep.
I'm going to have a lot. I have everybody on FanDuel. I have everybody at 17% or higher except for Josh Phegley, because obviously you don't need a catcher on FanDuel. And then on DK, smaller amounts of Matt Olson compared to Mark Canha, but those two guys are kind of chopping the first base ownership. Everybody else is double digits. Go Oakland today. Coming in a day late. That's a great place to be.
It's a horrible place to be.
I feel like a moron. God. Rockies and Red Sox. We're heading to Coors. Now, this is what I've got right now. Who knows where this number really ends up? It looked like it was 13.5 as the full total before we started. It's a coin flip outcome, which confused me a little bit. I had 6.8 for the Rockies, 6.6 for the Red Sox. Rico Garcia making his debut for Colorado, not available on FanDuel. Not that it matters. Rick Porcello going for the Red Sox. Don't play him either. We're not even going to talk about any of these guys from a pitching perspective. That's lunacy. They are chalky. The Rockies are third on FanDuel, second on DK. Red Sox are first and first. I got an infinite amount of Boston. I got an infinite amount of Colorado. I have on FanDuel, just dummy crunch, 45% of my total exposure going to the Rockies and Red Sox. On DraftKings, it's 42. I don't know how you don't want a lot of this game.
So Rico Garcia at AAA this year was flat out garbage.
Yeah.
7.3 strikeouts per 9 with 17% K rate, 2.1 home runs per 9, 623 xFIP. I mean, are you hearing this?
He's bad, man.
34% ground ball rate. It's crazy because at AA this season, he was phenomenal. Like 34% strikeouts, 1.85 ERA, 2.47 xFIP. That's crazy. 0.5 home runs per 9. How do you take that big of a step back from AA to AAA? I really couldn't tell you. That's a huge, huge step back.
He wasn't one of the top 27 prospects for the Rockies on FanGraphs coming into this season. He was listed as a other prospect of note reliever. So, I mean, he's like the 35th best option for the Rockies to roll out here in terms of young people.
Yeah, 35th best option in the Rockies organization.
Yeah. By the way, good luck. Here's your first shot. You're going to pitch in Colorado against Boston.
Yeah. Godspeed, young fella.
Oh, man. He's going to feel like he ate one of those bats in reverse.
Yeah. I don't know if it would matter if it was reverse or bottom end up, but he's going to wish he called out sick.
Yeah. Look, the Red Sox are the clear chalk, and I don't know how you fade it.
I don't see why you'd bother or even try to.
No. I've got 20% of everyone in the Red Sox lineup except for Benintendi, who's at 15. Everybody else is 20 or higher, some into the 30s. Pretty much the same story on FanDuel. Like, they're not even that expensive.
Nope.
Like, Betts and Devers and Bogarts and JD should be over 5K, but that's not even outlandish.
I mean, if you were to play Luis Castillo with Adrian Hauser, you still have 4,400 remaining per player.
Let's see.
Throw in a cheap catcher because we get one of them every day. You have 47 remaining. Like, very easy to make some really good teams here loaded with Coors bats.
Let's see. I've got 5-man Red Sox in this one. Pineda, Hauser. Easy. I've got...
Oh, with Pineda, Hauser, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, Tanaka, Hauser. What else we got right here? Tanaka, Hauser, Pineda, Hauser. Seems to be a decent combination.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, though, even with Castillo or Buehler and Hauser or Smiley, your options are not very limited.
Now, let me see. I still have my 800 lineups that I crunched on DraftKings. Let me see like what the outlook looks like if I do get one of the top arms plus the pay down pitchers with the Red Sox. So 74 different 5-man Boston stacks to find. A lot of Hauser Smiley with the full-on stack of this game.
Oh God.
Yeah. My first lineup, my highest projected lineup with a Boston 5-man is Hauser Smiley with Story, Blackman, Walters, and a 5-man Red Sox.
Oof.
I also got one with a 3-man Nats to go with this same Hauser Smiley combo.
Hauser Smiley. Now that's something, man.
Luis Castillo, Drew Smiley. It gets a little murky. Vasquez, Holt, Devers, Bogarts, Betts. 2-man Murphy, Daza with Josh Rojas from the Diamondbacks coming in at 2K to fill it out. But he'll be a popular filler in those scenarios too.
That's not terrible.
No. I don't have a lot of Red Sox plus the high end. Having trouble finding really anything with one of the expensive arms. There's another Castillo, Pinder, Matt Joyce, Rojas. Looks like Josh Rojas is going to be pretty popular to get to with this Boston stack.
Yeah, and then if like a dirt cheap catcher comes out at like 2K flat, you'll probably see quite a bit of them too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of Castillo Smiley combos.
I mean, honestly, just play batters from this game.
Yeah, I don't. And both sides, too. It's not like I'm worried about Rick Porcello on the other side. I mean, I want Blackman. I have less than I do from Boston, but on FanDuel, I got to 47% Trevor Story and 43% Nolan Arenado because they're going to, like, everyone should smash here.
Yeah. Why is Rico Garcia above 7K?
I have no idea. That was probably just the default salary for like dum-dums that have to play. I mean, he's a flat minimum on Yahoo, which is exactly where he should be. I feel like 7,100 is just like the holding price for new people.
He is going to get decimated.
Yeah.
Poor fella. Yeah, that's all I got on this one. Play bats.
Yep, play bats. Play them all. Don't worry about the ownership. It's that kind of game. I expect that these two teams will be two of the top three in top stack percentage. If you told me that the Nats snuck in ahead of one of them, I wouldn't be shocked. But if Boston is not number one, I'm going to be very confused.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Giants and Diamondbacks, 4.5 run implied total for the Giants, 4 for the D-backs, 56% chance to win for San Francisco. Samardzija versus Mike Leake. I don't know how this one's happening, so we're going to have a bit of a conversation here. No ownership really going to Samardzija. I got to 18% on FanDuel, where he's 7K. And then on DK, no ownership really going to Mike Leake. I got to 23% on DraftKings. I'm just aggressively paying down to this cheap area. I'm not too mad about it. I don't think the Giants' offense is particularly good. The game's in San Francisco, so like if I'm ever going to take Mike Leake, seems like a decent chance to do it. And then Samardzija for 7K against the Diamondbacks in San Fran. I don't hate that in terms of like paying down for a pitcher.
No, and well, a big thing here is, I think I've talked about this a lot. Mike Leake at home and on the road, because he has such massive home run problems, these type of parks are very favorable for him.
Yeah.
He's allowed 34 home runs on the year. 34. 25 of them have been away from home. And mind you, his starts prior to this were in Seattle prior to the trade deadline, right? So, and he just allowed 3 of them to San Francisco at home, and then 4 of them on the road to the Dodgers. So prior to that, you could see that it was a pretty noticeable difference. The reason I say at home is because now he's in Arizona. This game comes in the best pitcher's park known to man. So if you were to land on some Mike Leake against San Francisco, I really wouldn't blame you for it. Now, he's not very good.
No.
At all, but he is very cheap.
Yeah.
And it's a good park where I think the spacious outfield will save him a couple of home runs. But the guy sucks. He doesn't miss any bats. Let's be clear.
3.5 is the strikeout prop. It is minus 150 for the over. So
wow.
There's a little bit of love going that direction.
Exciting.
Yeah, but look, he's just another option at the bottom. I like the idea of having Leak shares in San Francisco if Hauser's 28 and Smiley's 31.
Yeah.
If Mike Leake is going to be 5% owned.
Won't argue it, but it is Mike Leake.
Like, it's one of those situations where I'm not entirely sure that Drew Smiley should get 6 times the ownership.
No, he shouldn't, because that's kind of the what I was saying the whole day. How is Smiley higher than Adrian Hauser right now? And you're right, even that much higher than Mike Leake.
Right. And this is solely because of being able to pitch in San Francisco here today. There's not like, I don't like him. He stinks. Bats, I mean, I can't imagine anybody wants any sort of volume here. Josh Rojas is going to be the guy that gets talked about because he's the flat minimum across all 3 sites. When you can get somebody for 2K on DraftKings, they're interesting by default.
Yeah, and he actually came down $400 since yesterday.
I want to see if he's my top value on DraftKings. Of, like, everybody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I assume he is.
Especially if he's...
Daza is, and then Rojas is second.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then Mookie Betts and JD Martinez. If you're curious as to how ridiculous this matchup is, Mookie Betts is almost the same dollar for dollar value as a guy that's priced at the flat minimum on DraftKings.
It's incredible.
Yeah. That's why you're going to get a lot of those boners.
Yeah, and it's why you're going to get lineups with Smiley and Hauser.
Yeah, that's why I got a bunch of them. You got to fit those bats in somehow. I don't have anything else to talk about in this game. I don't want offense.
No, I'm with you.
3 to go. Angels and Rangers, 4-6 for the Angels, 3-9 for the Rangers, 58% chance to win for LA. Andrew Heaney versus Mike Minor. Minor priced up on DraftKings at 10-4. That is a complete no-go for me. He's not getting ownership anywhere. Heaney is at 22% on Yahoo, 21 on FanDuel, and 12 on DK. I love him on FanDuel at 8,200. Rangers strike out a ton. They've actually been decent against lefty pitching in terms of like performance, but the strikeouts are there. That's something Heaney can do. I got to neutral on the field on FanDuel. On DK, I only have 7%, but I'm happy to get to some Heaney. What do you think about him against Texas?
Yeah, his last start actually came against Texas, where he had 14 strikeouts.
Went well?
Went decent, yeah. Heaney's kind of volatile in the sense that he's got really good strikeout stuff, and sometimes it just isn't there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is he's got that crazy sweeping curve that if teams just lay off of it, he'll get himself into some trouble. But I'm not sure Texas is going to do that. They certainly didn't last time out. That not to say that really history is going to indicate the future in a spot like this, because teams learn and make adjustments. But no, I do think it's a good spot for Heaney. The only knock on him here is that he's pretty expensive, very expensive as a matter of fact, particularly on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's 46. On FanDuel, he's 82. I find that really interesting.
He's the chalk.
Yeah.
Most owned pitcher on FanDuel, Andrew Heaney, 8,200.
Probably should be.
He's the most owned pitcher I have as well.
Yep, probably should be. So I get it. Do you think? Well, he's even 12% on DraftKings, which at that price is pretty crazy. But there's strikeout upside, and where there's strikeout upside, I'm going to have some interest.
Yeah, I can't disagree. FanDuel will be the place I have him the most. I'll still have some shares on DK. I won't have Mike Minor, and I don't have bats in this game. I have respect for Minor. I just don't want him in a fantasy. Like, he's just overpriced. I didn't get to anything. There's not a single batter in this game outside of Trout on DraftKings that's in double digits in ownership. This is just kind of like mostly a stay away.
Yeah, it's really just Heaney for me.
Same. 2 to go. Now we get to talk about some talent. Padres and Dodgers. 3.4 run implied total for the Pods. 4-6 for the Dodgers. 62% chance to win for LA. Cal Quantrill for the Padres. Not relevant. Walker Buehler for the Dodgers. He's 25% owned on Yahoo, 5 on FanDuel, and only 15 on DK. To me, he is the best option on the slate in terms of price and matchup. Padres strike out a ton. Walker Buehler mows down both hands. He doesn't get touched up. I think he's the best arm today, given where he's priced.
Yeah, I won't even elaborate much on it because I've already said as much earlier, along when we talked about him earlier. So I really like Buehler. It's him, Verlander, and Castillo. Those are my top 3 guys. He's the highest K rate in the league versus righties is the San Diego Padres, that active roster. And they really just haven't been impressive at all. Maybe a little bit of power, but aside from that, they don't get on base at a high clip, low WRC plus, and a lot of Ks. So I like that. And I think the Dodgers lefties are really interesting. Cal Quantrill, night and day splits versus lefties and righties. 16% strikeouts against lefties, 5.4 xFIP. Against righties, 28% strikeouts and a 2.89 xFIP. So just stark contrast between how he's been able to perform against same and opposite-handed hitters. To me, you could get I definitely have some interest in Dodger hitters, Dodger lefties, even if it's in Petco Park.
They are going unowned today. Wouldn't surprise me to see them have like a really decent gap between their top stack odds and ownership. It's not going to be, they're not going to end up crazy high just because of the Nats and the Rockies and the Red Sox. Like, there are better obvious spots that are going to soak up a little bit more of those percentage points, but I would be very surprised if they didn't like come out as what would be a really nice tournament play.
Yep. I'm with you 100%.
Other than Jock, there's no ownership. It's like 3% or higher. So if you can get to Muncy and Bellinger, you're paying up for it. They're not going to be the same dollar for dollar prices as, like I mentioned on Mookie Betts, but I don't think anybody's going to be mad you end up with Dodger bats.
No, not at all. And I think just, based on how completely unowned they are, given their upside and the power that they have throughout the entirety of this lineup, it's never the worst idea.
No. And then I certainly don't want Padres. I got flat 0 for all of them. Manny Machado is the flat minimum along with Hunter Renfroe on Yahoo today.
So crazy, though.
$7 for Machado, $7 for Renfroe. I don't even know what to say to that. I still don't want them.
I know, right?
Too many other options. Final game. We're only at an hour and 35, man. Even with just going off the rails on cheesesteaks and whatever the hell else we end up.
We get it done.
We do. 4.1 run implied total for the Mariners, 5-3 for the Yanks, 63% chance to win for New York. Yusei Kikuchi for Seattle, Masahiro Tanaka for the Yanks. No ownership going to Kikuchi, nor should it. Tanaka, 3% on Yahoo, 2 on FanDuel, 5 on DraftKings. I've got myself like 10 to 15% of Tanaka on FanDuel and DK. Mariners team strikes out an absolute ton. It is a sea of lefties, but it's not like most of them are any good. What do you think of Tanaka here? Just a 4.1 run implied total for the Mariners.
He's fine, but he really hasn't been anything close to the pitcher that he was in seasons past.
Yeah.
Meaning, like the strikeouts are. Dude, he has a sub 20% K rate.
Yeah, it's bad. 16.8 against lefties this season.
Amazing, right? Even against righties, it's at 21%. The only silver lining is that this is a bad Seattle Mariners team. Like that's what it comes down to, and the Mariners are going to strike out, and you've got a top 7 K rate for them, and you've only seen their numbers come down ever since they traded away certain guys. They've got a ton of injuries to this team, so I do understand that. The part of this game that I find most appealing though has got to be Yankee bats against Kikuchi. He has been just bludgeoned by right-handed hitting this season, and I can only imagine that those numbers are going to grow worse after tonight's game is over.
Still not even getting all that much ownership. Like they're tied for 5th in the aggregate on DK, but it's still only 5% total. Judge at 14 because he continues to be underpriced. Gary Sanchez at 10. They're the only guys in double digits. But
none of the prices are that crazy, dude.
No, 4,800 is the cap. On FanDuel, they're unowned. 1% aggregate. 17th highest amount of ownership on the entire slate. I got to 5%. Like that's perfect. That's where I want to grab the Yankees. Unowned Yankee bats.
Pretty remarkable given that Kikuchi has allowed 31 home runs this year, more than 2 per 9. Home run rates are really bad for him, and he doesn't strike. What's that?
He's straight trash.
Yeah, and he doesn't strike batters out, and he has a league average ground ball rate. So the only thing not to like is the park.
Yeah, and it's still only neutral. It's not even like it's bad.
Yeah,
and Aaron Judge and Gary Sanchez and Gleyber Torres give a shit where they're playing. They're hitting. Right. They're not hitting the top of the wall.
Nope. It doesn't matter.
I mean, normally neither is Harper, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, he's in the seats, bro.
Yeah, except for yesterday. Just enough to make me look dumb. I really like the Yankees here, especially if they go unowned. They're not going to be like my top owned stack or anything. There are better spots out there, but they might be a little sneaky on a day where they're just kind of going under the radar because of Coors and because of Washington and potentially Oakland.
I feel like they'll go very under the radar.
Yeah. I mean, Gregorius, 1%, Torres, 2%, Gary Sanchez, 2%. Those are FanDuel ownerships. Judge, 4%. That's really all I need to hear.
Yeah. Against a super homer-prone lefty? Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Super easy. 15 games in and out. We're done, man. Hour and 39 minutes.
Glad to be back with you, brother.
I'm happy to have you back. I'm glad, you're a happily married man now.
Married. No, I'm just kidding.
But not really. I know what you mean. I can relate. Guys, hit the like button.
We've been together 7 years. Yeah.
Not a lot of change.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, Josh.
You know what's fun? Married filing jointly in the taxes.
Oh, yeah, that should be enjoyable. Now she can see all of the stuff that I've done wrong.
Why do you have $45,000 losses in Litecoin?
That's awesome.
How much aluminum did you buy?
Platinum, bro. Easy.
Either way.
Easy.
Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. Again, 4:45, deeper dive kicking off. Laffy will be back with Adam and the boss man, Alex Baker. Then live before lock with my
kilos of copper.
What'd you say?
Oh, thank God.
You're still going?
Like very rudely interrupted you as you're closing the show out, but
at least somebody's closing the show out. On that note, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. MLB Strategy is the promo code. Laffy's done for this one. 50% off your first month with us. One big word, MLB Strategy. Shout out to Yahoo Sports. Check out EMAC Spotlight Hitters article on the website right now for some information on how to sign up. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. We're out of here, guys. Thanks for joining us. We love it. Bye.
Dude.